The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Phoenix Fire Department, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37499. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation. Just under the front bumper, you'll find 2 chrome toe eyes located on the driver and passenger side frame rail. On the angled portion of the front bumper, you'll find emergency warning lights. Toward the center, you'll find recessed electronic siren and PA speakers. Located directly in the center on the face of the bumper, your unit identifier. Moving over to the driver's side, dual air horns. As we move up onto the bumper extension on the passenger side, you'll find a swivel discharge. Right next to the discharge is where you'll find a tubbed storage location for hose storage with Velcro tie down. Located in the center of the bumper extension is where you'll find your booster or red line. As we move out to the outer edge of the driver's side, you'll find your mechanical siren. Let's move up onto the cab face, where on the outer edge you'll find a marker turn indicator light. Just inside that location is the headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. The high beam will be located on the inside. Directly above the headlight structure is an emergency warning light forward facing. As we move to the grille, behind the Pierce logo is the latch for gaining access to the hood area. Moving up onto the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. Moving out to the outer edge, you'll find a mirror housing a flat and convex mirror. As we move to the center behind the windshield is your Haas system. Up to the brow, you'll find 5 identification clearance lights. Located directly in the center, a forward-facing floodlight. Up onto the roof is where you'll find your emergency warning light bar. Located within inside the light bar in the center section is where you'll find your Opticom. Just above, over the passenger and driver side, is where you'll find your spotlights, controlled from within inside the cab area. Let's move around to the side of the vehicle. You'll find your emergency warning lights. You'll also find side-facing scene lights, one on the cab and one on the rear section of the body. At the very rear section, an additional emergency warning light on the top rear section. You'll also find wheel chocks in front of and rear of the axle. These are your storage locations. Moving now to the front axle, where you'll find a visual sight gauge indicator, Alcoa wheel, and Michelin tire. You'll also find the drain for the front discharge located just under the driver's stepwell area. Easily accessible with a gloved hand, these are your combination door lock and latch keyed. Also right next to that is where you'll find your grab handle for gaining entry and exit in and out of the cab. There is a 30 amp auto eject plug directly over the front axle, in addition with an emergency warning light. As we move to the body, you'll find the DEF fill location in front of the axle and the ultra low sulfur diesel at the rear of the axle. These are the fill locations. As we move around to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find emergency warning light, brake, turn, and reverse light. Also a cupped switch for the rear scene lights. In addition, with 2 ladder storage locations, one on the passenger and one on the driver's side. Moving to the center, a 3rd brake light, and then just above that brake light is where you'll find your backup camera, which is recessed into the body. Moving now to the outer edge, you'll find scene lights. Moving up to the very top section, emergency warning lights. Let's go ahead and move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. You do have an external exhaust top side. Moving now to the body section, you'll find a 2nd fill location for your ultra low sulfur diesel. As we move now to the pump section, we'll cover this in just a few moments, but let's move on to the cab portion, where you'll find your AM/FM radio antenna on the outside, in addition with a side-facing camera. Let's go ahead and take a look at some close-ups of the items that we've previously talked about, first with the front bumper extension. Moving now to the front discharge, foam capable. Front discharge storage location. Front bumper line. There is a rewind located on the upper right-hand side, along with your mechanical siren. Let's move now to the grille area, where you'll find the Pierce logo. Directly behind is the latch mechanism to gain access behind and under the hood. As we move to the passenger side, you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Moving now to the driver's side, you'll find the recovery container for your coolant. You'll also find instructions on the placard located here for raising the cab and lowering the cab. There is a remote. It is the yellow handle with the black push button. Also right next to that is a protected switch. This is the location for activation of either raise or lower. There is also a door open unlock electronic switch located here, and then also a power steering fluid fill location to the right. Let's go ahead and go inside the cab area. We'll start first with the driver's space, starting with the door panel, where you'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information. Up from that location is the combination door lock and latch. Just above that is the electric windows and a grab handle. As we move down to the floor area, about the right leg of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the date of manufacture, 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the VIN number, fluid capacities for component, fluid capacity, and fluid type. At about the left foot of the operator is where you'll find the air horn and mechanical siren foot switch. At about the left knee of the operator is where you'll find the engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic port, tech module, and also display module ports. Below that, you'll find ABS diagnostics, DPF regen, engine diagnostics, and regen inhibit switch. Just up from this location is where you'll find the master battery switch, quarter turn. And as we move to the dash area, starting on the left-hand side, four-way flashers, ignition and start switch. Just to the right, a switch labeled EM, which stands for Emergency Master. This will engage or disengage all emergency lights. Headlight switch and a switch labeled panel, which allows you to brighten or dim lights within preview of the operator. As we move to the opposite side of the steering column, you'll find the OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving up to the dash cluster, on the left-hand side, you'll find the transmission, oil, def level, and water temp. On the right side, front air, rear air, fuel, and volts. Located in the center is the tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic tally light information will display above and below the speedometer, in addition with the display in the center. Let's move just to the right of the operator, where you'll find the pull to apply your system parking brake and push to release. It is the yellow diamond. Moving just to the right, Pierce Command Zone with a tremendous amount of information right here at your fingertips. It's a touchscreen and also function button. Just to the right, you'll find the Allison transmission pad push button digital readout with a pump and drive note. Moving all the way to the right, you'll find the pump shift. We'll go over that in just a few moments. Back now to the Pierce Command Zone display. Allison transmission pad, pump and drive informational note. A few switch panels located here with the engine brake, settings for low, medium, and high, a push to talk for your radio, and mirror heat. As we move to the pump shift, there are instructions for its operation for road to pump, and then also from pump to road. Just as a reminder, when exiting the cab for pump operations, you need two green indicators, pump engaged and OK to pump, illuminating green for activation. Also, caution, disengage the retarder when on the wet, slippery surfaces. Just above that was the Go light, and then also mirror control for the flat and convex mirror. As we move just up from that location, you'll find climate control for heat, air conditioning, and defrost, and then also your tire pressure will display in this location. Moving overhead of the operator, you'll find this yellow placard indicating the height of the vehicle, which is 10 feet 3 inches, the length of the vehicle 32 feet 10 inches, gross vehicle weight rating is 44,800 pounds. Also on this placard is the 5-digit job number, which is 37499-01. Moving to the right, you'll find Emergency Master, Roof Light, Front Warning, Side Warning, Lower Rear Warning, Upper Rear Warning, a siren brake for your mechanical siren, and also an electronic siren switch. Moving further to the right to the next switch panel, you'll find Front Flood, Cab Rear Scene, Driver Scene, Passenger Scene, Rear Scene, 2 future switch locations, and Load Manager. As you can see, the Load Manager is active, indicating green around the switch. Moving to the right, you'll find your PA system and electronic siren control module. Moving further to the right, AM/FM weather band radio. Up to the roofline area, you'll find a warning regarding your air conditioning unit and the fill operations for it, and also a wired headset location. In the front section, you'll find this is the bracket. On the other side of that is your Haas system. Also, you'll find do not move your apparatus when the light is flashing. You may have a compartment door open or ajar. As we move to the rear, you'll find 2 forward-facing seats. Right next to that, you'll find switched for activation of lights overhead. These seats do sit on a pedestal with additional access underneath, and there are also 2 rear-facing seats just forward of this location. Let's go behind the driver's seat, where you'll find additional electrical accessories and also the manual cab tilt handle. As we move to the exterior, directly over the front axle, you'll find your Shoreline inlet. It is a 30 amp auto eject with a light indicating that you have power supplying to the outlet. Michelin tires, Alcoa wheel, and a visual sight gauge into the center of the axle. As we move now into the rear cab area, let's start first with the door panel. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, door lock and latch, electric window control, and a grab handle. Overhead, we have push on and off white or red lens lights, your 12-volt air conditioning unit, and also the 110 air conditioning unit. As we move now into the cab area, just a few shots here of the cab seating arrangements. As we move to the center section, you'll find a lift and turn latch at the rear of the engine area, where you'll find your daily checks for oil and transmission. Moving now behind the officer seat, you'll find your unit radio, in addition with your volume control for your headset system. Additional shot of the air ride seats located here. Air conditioning unit directly overhead. Moving to the side, we have loose wiring located here, or spare wiring. It is identified by the red tag around the wiring. Here are the red lights located on each passenger and driver side. We'll now move exterior to the pump panel, and we'll start first with the crosslays at the top. There are 3 located here, crosslay 1, 2, and a 2.5 inch discharge. They are all 3 foam capable. Let's move just to the right, where you'll find our gauges located in the top section. This is the pump intake gauge. Right next to it, you'll find your pump discharge. These are the 2 master gauges. In between the 2 of those are the test gauge ports for vacuum and pressure. They are currently plugged and are utilized for testing purposes. As we move to the right in the gray area, this is your engine information, housing information about oil, water, volts, and fuel. Also, tally lights are located here for check transmission, stop engine, and check engine, in addition with an audible speaker at the very bottom section. In the center is the tachometer. Let's move now down on the pump panel, identify a few items within this area. First, we'll start in the upper left. There are 2 indicators, one pump engaged and OK to pump, indicating you've completed the actions with inside the cab. Also, some switches here for additional lighting. Moving to the right, you'll find the reel discharge. Also an indication here of a warning that there is the possibility of entanglement because of the lines coming from a loft, and that's why we have this placard here. We also have a deluge discharge electric valve located here, and right next to it is your gauge. These are the two cross lays, cross lay 1 and 2, and then the 2.5 right next to it. You'll also find two wheel valves located here. They're identified, and then right next to that is the pressure throttle governor. Moving just to the right of the pressure throttle governor is where you'll find the foam level tank A indicator, and then just next to that is where you'll find your Husky foam system module. There are instructions for its operation on the actual module itself. As a reminder, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. As we move downward, you'll find an audible speaker. The outer edge of that bezel does rotate, allowing it to dampen sound. Also, the front discharge, which is foam capable. As we move just from this location to the right, you'll find an additional audible speaker, and then just underneath that, you'll find the thermal relief valve indicator located below that speaker system. As we move to the right, you'll find the driver side 2.5-inch pre-connect, and then also the passenger side pre-connect. The passenger side is foam capable. As we move down from this location, you'll find the engine cooler. This is a twist, not a pull. Moving just to the right of that location, we do have a warning here regarding fall. When climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle. This is your tank fill and recirculating line. Moving down just to the left, the red module is your Husky foam system. There are instructions for its operation on the placards next to it. Also, you'll find the fire pump primer located here for best practices, at least 1,000 RPMs. Moving down once again, only trained personnel should operate this piece of equipment, and that's only after proper training. You'll also find the minimum operation maintenance schedule. We'll go over that in just a few moments. And then also tank to pump in the upper right side, and your Watrous placard down at the bottom indicating the type of pump that you have, along with your main fire pump drain. And then moving further to the right, your earnest water tank level indicator indicating tank water. Let's move down from this location where you'll find an air inlet outlet, and then also just next to that is the manual pump shift. Just below that, you'll find color-coded and labeled discharge drains. Let's move just to the right on the pump panel. We'll start first with the main pump inlet, and then as we move just to the right, this is the Watrous placard, and then below that, a warning placard indicating caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. Also a warning regarding foam. Do not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. This is the draft or tank lever for your foam fill. And as we move to the right, you'll find this is your headset push to talk, and then also for direct wire. There is a pan door located here. Lift and turn latch gains you access to the back of that, where you'll find on the back hand of the door or back side of the door, informational note regarding the yellow lever in the top portion. In the vertical position, this is going to be for operation. As you move upward, it is for fill. Also a foam drain located in this compartment also. Here's the indication instructions placard. Let's move just under the side running board where you'll find your foam pump discharge drain and foam pump intake drain. As we move back to the placards, your pump is a capacity of 1,500 gallons. We'll move to the minimum operation maintenance schedule for test pressures at 150, 200, and 250 psi. For those test pressures, the associated GPM is located on the left and the associated RPM on the right. Governed speed while in pump, 2,400 RPMs. Let's move now to the roll-up compartment right next to the pump area where you have some adjustable shelves and a pull-out tool board. Also, you'll find the S1 breaker, which stands for shoreline power. Here's an example of the tool board. As we move to the rest of the compartments, first in front of the axle, you'll find your DEF fill location. It is the blue cap. Two SCBA bottle storage locations with retaining straps, and your ultra low sulfur diesel fill. It is the silver cap. You have an additional fill on the passenger side. This is an 8-gallon DEF tank, once again the blue cap. Let's move now to the upper compartment. LED lighting located on the right and left side of the compartment. Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. Let's go back and take a look at the ultra low sulfur fill location with a retaining cap holder. As we move to the rear of the axle, you'll find an additional storage location for a folding wheel chock, adjustable shelving, LED lighting, and in the very top section, you'll find spare 12-volt DC connection points. All compartments are open now. Let's move around to the rear of the apparatus. We'll identify a few things here. All compartment doors are open again. Let's start first in the driver's side 2.5-inch pre-connect. Just underneath that, you'll find long-handled tool storage and also backboard storage and an additional 24-foot extension ladder. Rear cab scene light is the cupped switch on the left-hand side. As we move toward the center, you have some warning placards here indicating fall. When climbing on or off the vehicle, always face the vehicle. Entanglement hazard, because of the lines coming from a loft, there is the possibility of entanglement. And also fall, never ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. There is a recessed camera just above the third brake light. As we move to the rear compartment, adjustable shelving in this area. As we move to the right, 24-foot extension, 14-foot roof, and a 10-foot folding attic ladder in the very top portion. And the passenger side 2.5-inch pre-connect, which is also foam capable. As we move around to the passenger side, we do have adjustable shelves. At the very top in this compartment, we also have a spare 12-volt DC outlet located here. As we move down to the passenger side in front of and rear of the axle, this is the second fill location for your ultra low sulfur. Directly above that is an SCBA bottle storage with a retaining strap. Here is the fill location once again on the passenger side. Let's go ahead and move into the compartment now. And then we'll move just down from this location will be the rear axle, where you'll find once again Michelin tires and Alcoa wheel. Just to the forward location of this is where you'll find SCBA bottle storage for 2 bottles with retaining straps. As we move to the forward compartment, additional storage, adjustable shelves, LED lighting, and at the very top section, you'll see that spare 12-volt DC connection block. And then let's go ahead and move now to the midsection, where you'll find your pump panel. At the very top, these are all cross lays, identical layout as we have on the driver's side as well on the passenger. Entanglement warning also located on this side. And then also some additional warnings here regarding climbing on or off the vehicle. And then also just below that, you'll find extreme hot temperature. The exhaust is right next to that behind a shield. Behind the pan door is where you'll find the intake relief valve. There are instructions for its operation on the placard itself. Here is the extremely hot temperatures due to the exhaust just to the left. Also, the passenger side auxiliary inlet is located here, right next to the large diameter passenger side inlet. As we move to the right, we have a passenger side scene light switch at the very top, a pressure hazard warning because caps may be under pressure. Be cautious when opening them. As we move down, these are the 2 discharges located on this side, a 2.5-inch and large diameter. As we move further down on the pump panel, you'll find your garden hose outlet, and then also right next to it, you'll find a direct tank fill locally controlled via the ball valve on the side. At the very bottom, color-coded and labeled discharge drains. As we move to the bottom, you'll find the primer and garden hose outlet drains. And then as we move to the very bottom, this is your manifold drain. Let's go ahead and take a look at the side running board. We do have a tub storage location for additional hose storage, dry deck, and Velcro. We're now into the cab section, into the rear portion, passenger side. Affixed to the door panel, safety and warning placard information, electric window control, door lock and latch combination grab handle. Overhead, push on and off white or red lens lights, 12-volt air conditioning, and also 110 air conditioning. General view into the rear section area. And we'll now move to the front axle. Visual sight gauge in the center, Alcoa wheel, and Michelin tire. As we move just above that location, you'll find a side-facing emergency warning light, and as we move into the cab of the officer's space, we'll find affixed to the door panel safety and warning placard information. As we move to the forward section of the officer area, you'll find a push-button glove box. Below that, you'll find your supplemental restraint system. This is your airbag, and then also a warning placard indicating the operation of the airbag and any mounting of equipment within this area. The 2 screws on the outer edge are for gaining access for your maintenance team for our electrical components, which are located predominantly in this area. Let's move just to the left of the officer space, where you'll find 12-volt access via USB and also barrel style. As we move forward of this location near the climate control, you have an additional storage location, and then just to the right of that location you'll find your radio push to talk, and then also 3 push buttons located on the right side, which is electronic siren, air horn, and mechanical siren. As we look overhead of the officer's space, you'll find push on and off white or red lens lights, also a switch panel housing a front flood, cab rear scene, driver scene, passenger scene, rear scene, and a siren brake for your mechanical siren. As we move just to the left, you'll find your speedometer, digital readout, and then also the Go Light control module for the light over the light bar. Full view, all compartments open. Let's move up onto the top section. We'll start first with the roof section. This is your 120-volt air conditioner. We do have some additional information here regarding a slippery surface. This is a non-walking surface on the cab area. As we move now to the dunnage area, we'll identify a few items within this area. Just in front of those crosslays is where you'll find your dunnage area. This is the deluge discharge. This is an electric valve. This is a cover that's protecting that valve mechanism. This is the hydraulic foam system for your Husky system. Tank A is the foam tank with a indication here that you should not mix different brands or consistencies of foam for the possibility of foam failure. And then right next to that is the top fill location for your water tank. As we move to the outer hatch compartments, you'll find on the passenger side the air compressor for your air brakes, and then also battery charger to maintain batteries. These operate when plugged into Shoreline Power. We'll go ahead and take a look at the various compartments here in the top section. These are once again your hatch compartments. This is the passenger side of the vehicle. This is the driver's side of the vehicle, and then forward section of the driver's. As we look to the hose bed dividers, they are movable, and also you'll see the pre-connects located on each outer edge. The next set of images are that going to be of the chassis and engine area. We'll identify a few of those. First, we'll start with the chrome tow eyes. These are the intended if you need to tow the vehicle. Steering in the very front. As we move down, this is a safety bar. When you have fully tilted the cab and have equal pressure on both right and left cylinder, go ahead and place this bar into position. Do not lower the cab onto this bar. Maintain equal pressure on both right and left cylinders. As we move down to the rear portion of the engine, you'll find the daily checks for oil and transmission. You'll also find at the very bottom section of the battery box indicated here for your jumper studs, positive and negative. The fill location for your hydraulic reservoir for tilting the cab. Moving now through the rest of the images, there'll be no additional audio at this point. This will conclude the additional chassis images. Congratulations, Phoenix Fire Department, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 37499. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.